What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp, Fightful.com, here to talk some Ring of Honor, some War of the Worlds. There are stops in Buffalo, Toronto, Grand Rapids, Chicago, before they turn around and in June hit up the State of the Art Tour. We're joined by one of the stars of that tour, Mark Haskins, fresh off of dental surgery, as we were talking about off the air.
How you doing, man?
Doing good. How did this come about? Was it anything ring related, or was it just some normal upkeep, so to speak?
I think it's just gone through the wars, really. I chipped a tooth a while ago and ended up losing half of it, and it's just been stuck in my mouth ever since. So, yeah, I thought it was time to yank that little so-and-so out.
That can be brutal, as can a Ring of Honor tour on your body. You've got a lot of dates coming up. What were your feelings when Lifeblood was formed? How were you approached about this, either by Ring of Honor, and when you were approached by Ring of Honor to come in, were you told, okay, this is the plan, Lifeblood, that's what we're going with?
So, I mean, we were in talks from around August of last year. I got to be a part of their UK tour, and they had some, slots coming up. So, we got in touch over a space of a few months, figured out a deal that benefited both parties. And then, my contract started in January, and then we got thrown pretty much straight into Lifeblood straight away. And it's a pretty cool concept as well. It's just a group of young guys that want to break out and make a name for themselves. And bring back to Ring of Honor what it was all about in the first place. So it's been a real cool experience, especially working with Juice and guys like that. We're all just guys trying to get out there and, build up a reputation for ourselves.
For tours like this one, how early do you come back over to the States, or how do you divide that time, so to speak?
It's been real busy, especially over the last few weeks. I've had pretty much no spare time whatsoever. The thing that was 3 weeks on the trot, where I was just back and forth traveling over to America. So it literally felt like you pull the car into a driveway and pull straight back out again. It's been pretty hectic, but I mean, it's been super fun. I've been staying busy over in the UK as well. So even when I get home, I'm never really resting.
Yeah, and of course you all had the big show at Madison Square Garden. Being from the UK, what did Madison Square Garden mean to you? I'm curious to learn. Did it mean the same thing that it maybe means to people who grew up in this country?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Madison Square Garden is one of those venues that you can say to anybody in the world, and pretty much, no one's not heard of it. Do you know what I mean? There's been so many people who I mentioned, I've got a show at Madison Square Garden this weekend, and just straight away, they knew what the Garden was all about, and it meant a lot to a lot of people. It's a hell of a huge stage, over a massive weekend in our business, and it was such a cool experience to get to be a part of it.
Now, you've also been a part of Ring of Honor's expansion, so to speak. What are you looking for Ring of Honor to accomplish over in the UK, as that is something I'm sure that they would be interested in doing in the future?
Well, I'm hoping that they start up their own UK branch, so I have less distance to travel to work.
Sure.
That would be fantastic for me. Just leave me in charge, and I'll see what I can do for everybody.
You had also appeared for some other companies. If you could go back and maybe give yourself some advice ahead of maybe a TNA debut, what would you do knowing what you know now?
Don't be afraid to say no. I don't know, man. You look back at experiences like that, and, I always kind of feel like you either win or you learn, right? You never go away from something without having learned a valuable lesson in some form. And, if I hadn't been through certain things in the past, then I wouldn't be the person and performer that I am today.
And they do have new regimes. I mean, since you've been there, they probably had 4 or 5 different regimes. Have they ever tried to make contact again through any of those other regimes?
No, I haven't been approached by anybody.
So as far as that, was Ring of Honor the main Western company kind of courting you in that regard?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they got in touch around sort of last year. I had a couple of different offers come up on the table, which looked quite exciting, but, Ring of Honor is something I've wanted to do ever since I was a trainee and wanted to be, a part of professional wrestling. And when the opportunity came up to work with them going forward, I jumped at it.
So, I mean, prior to this year, I know you had primarily been based in the UK. You had a few U.S. appearances like PWG, but in 2019, it's been Ring of Honor. What led you to make that a more permanent thing? Like, I mean, what made you pull the trigger on that now?
Well, I mean, it's something that we don't always get the choice of. It's something that, when that hand comes along and, you get dealt something like that, you either take the opportunity or you don't. Ring of Honor came along, within the past year or so for me, and it was something that I've wanted for a long time. This is a part of my career now where I want to step out and I want to be, breaking out into new markets and doing things differently and be in different dressing rooms, be given different opportunities and try and make the very most of them that I can. That's it was time for a new challenge, and when that came along, I was more than ready for it.
Also, you had spent some time over in Progress. I had a question that actually was a hot topic at the time. There was like a major shift in their production. And a lot of people suggest it may have been when they became connected to WWE, so to speak. Was that something that you or any of the other wrestlers noticed? Like, it seemed like a very WWE-esque production, like with zooms and cuts in that regard.
I'll be honest with you, no. I hadn't noticed anything at all. The camera guys that they've got, Al and Jack, they both work their absolute, behinds off behind the scenes there. And, they're super talented at what they do. They manage to take, these camera shots and these different angles, and they put together these promo packages, which are just, knocking it out of the park right now. So major hats off to them and Debbie as well. Like, they work their absolute asses off. But no, I mean, I haven't really noticed. I'll have to double check it now. You got me thinking. I'm wondering, has there been a major shift? I don't know.
I mean, you can see some of that stuff, and you wonder if it's them going the WWE way. Like, and I mean, quite frankly, there are some times when you watch WWE programming and you can't see the move that's happening, which isn't something that you see in a lot of other promotions. Speaking of WWE, there was a tweet that you put out about Ronda Rousey, who had kind of adopted this roll-through scoop into a fireman's carry. You know where I'm going with it.
Yeah, so it was a move that I'm pretty confident I was the first ever person to do, and so funny story actually. I was at PWG Bowler, I think it was 2017, and I saw Ronda Rousey outside, and she'd been at the show and she'd seen me wrestle Travis Banks, and I knew that for the most part from what I've heard, like, she hates having pictures taken, right? But I saw Sammy Guevara get a picture, and I was like, okay, this is my chance, right? I want to say I've met her, so I just swooped in. I took a quick picture before she tried to flying armbar me or anything, and then I just got out of there, and she just smiled. It was lovely and it was super cool. And then I was watching WrestleMania, and she did my roll up into a Death Valley, and I was like, oh hell no, she was smiling at me because she was stealing my move. And she's done it quite a few times since then, and it's something that now a lot of the boys call the Ronda roll because they're giving her credit for it.
That's fantastic. So this Lifeblood faction, so many times in wrestling, you'll see a bunch of people with the same backgrounds, the same styles, the same looks put together. This faction is just categorically different people, different styles, different backgrounds. What do you think of that? A lot of people were like, oh, is this the right way to go? I remember when the pictures emerged, but it seems to be working out for you guys pretty well.
Well, it's something that I think even works better in some cases, because if everybody's the same, then, okay, you might have a very, successful unit, but there's very little, I don't know. I feel like sometimes there can be more chemistry if people are different, and everybody brings something different to the group. You've got somebody who's, a mad sort of, technical wrestler like Hot Sauce. You got somebody who's a crazy high flyer like Bandito. You got, your rough and tough brawler like Finley. You got your over the top character like Juice. You've got your scrappy little intense fighter like me. Like, everybody brings something different together. Like, the way that we like to think of it is almost as if it's, we're the Avengers of pro wrestling, because all the Avengers are completely different, right? I'm working on my Hulk look, but I'll get there eventually. But it's something that I know it's something that we're still ironing out. We get in there in different matches and see what works for us when we work together as a team, and it's quite fun. It's a different dynamic. I've just spent the past 2 years tag teaming with Jimmy Havoc, who is the complete opposite wrestler to what I am. But that's sometimes what makes things more exciting, and it's sometimes a break mentally from doing something that you can be stuck in for so long.
Now, there was something that had kind of caught my attention. It looked like you guys were set, you and Tracy Williams, to take on the Kingdom at ROH 17. Obviously, the lethal Taven match went like an hour long or something like that. And I don't think that match happened the next night either. Did you all go into that show kind of knowing, hey, we won't be up, but it was scheduled?
Yeah, I mean, when Taven and Jay went an hour, man, I was shocked because it was warm as well. So, hats off to those guys because they went out there and they had an epic. We were watching from the back afterwards, and it was phenomenal. So, major respect to both of them. And yeah, I'm 30 years old now. I'm not opposed to getting paid to take a night off.
That is a good point. So on this War of the Worlds tour, you all are hitting several different dates, several different places. And the connection with New Japan is one that entices an awful lot of people to sign with New Japan, or to sign with Ring of Honor, rather. Was that part of the attraction of Ring of Honor to you?
What, to see it as a gateway into New Japan?
Well, or just the association, maybe some of the talent you'll get to work with, even if you don't head over to New Japan, the variety, so to speak.
Well, I mean, it's super appetizing anytime you see a dressing room full of some of the best wrestlers in the world, and for the most part, I haven't really had much of a chance to, get in with the guys in Ring of Honor. So it's pretty exciting, especially now with all the new guys that they're bringing in, just to be in, different environment, wrestling different people, you try to, take something different from every match that you have. There's, of course, Ring of Honor is on a platform which opens up other opportunities everywhere, but, I'm not, looking for anything. I'm just enjoying my time. I'm just working hard, getting my head down and, doing the best I can.
Were you surprised, speaking of that ROH 17 show, that New Japan didn't send Juice over for that show? He was already out of the New Japan Cup, I think, and was working maybe like 6-man tags and stuff. When I saw ROH 17, I was actually kind of surprised that they hadn't sent Juice over to appear on that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he's just in Japan with his feet up, I'm sure he's probably not complaining about that.
That's a very good point. Mark, before we go, where can the people follow you on social media?
So it's at This Is Haskins on both Instagram and Twitter. And check out my website, www.thisishaskins.com.
Thank you so much. Hope we get to do this again, and I encourage everybody to check out War of the Worlds. You can see several of those shows on Honor Club, and check out ROHWrestling.com. Mark, thank you so much.